Good evening, and welcome again to Think About It Thursdays. My name is Henry Dotson, and this is the time of the week that we get back together and we take the time, a few minutes, just to think about a topic that has to do with a purposeful cancer journey of faith. So, this week, the thing that we're going to do for this particular Think About It Thursday is to ask you to think about your need for a caregiver. If you haven't chosen one yet, why not? If you have one, have you given them health care power of attorney? So, this is a topic that maybe you've thought about already, especially if you are a cancer patient. Those of you who are not, you may not know about a caregiver and healthcare power of attorney. So, this is a topic that I think folks would be interested in knowing about because it is an aspect of the cancer journey that cancer patients need to consider. So, again, the question is think about your need for a caregiver. If you haven't chosen one yet, why not? If you have one, have you given them healthcare power of attorney? So, this started out with this Monday when we had our Monday mindset. And on Monday mindset, we said simply, it sort of answers the question to begin with on the Monday was that you need a caregiver for your cancer journey. So, for those of you who do not know what a caregiver is, a caregiver is the person who assists the cancer patient and is not paid to do so. So this is not a hired nurse or someone like that. This is a person who has volunteered to assist you on your cancer journey, and you don't pay them to do so. Typically, it's a close family member. Um, it could be someone else, a close friend. It could be anyone, but typically it's a family member. Particularly if you're married, it typically winds up being your spouse if they're able to do that. And the caregiver is intimately aware of the cancer patient's health status and is their primary advocate. So this is a person who would go along on doctor visits, sit in, hear what the doctor has to say, um, can answer some questions. I know when I was going through, Vanessa was my caregiver, and caregivers, because they're close family members and they're spending so much time with the cancer patient, when they're not at the doctor's, they have an opportunity to observe things and see how the patient is doing. So when they go to the doctor and the doctor asks how things are going, the cancer patient may reply in one way, but the caregiver can say, well, I also saw this, or no, that's not quite right. So they can help give an accurate picture of what's going on with the cancer patient. So the doctor is fully aware as they try to decide what they're going to do. Um, so the the caregiver is not only intimately aware of your health of the patient's health status, but the caregiver is often also the primary advocate for the patient. So there may be some times, particularly when you get certain treatments. I know that when I was giving the heavy doses of chemo, I got what they called chemo brain. Some people call it chemo fog, but you really can't make good decisions. So sometimes it's the caregiver that is better able to articulate what the cancer patient needs. And oftentimes, to be able to do that, the patient has to give the caregiver or someone the authority to make healthcare decisions when the cancer patient is unable to do so. So they may be either, like I say, they might be having chemo brain where they can't think about, can't think straight, or it may be that they're in surgery and a decision has to be made and they're under anesthesia. And so something needs to be done, but the healthcare professionals need permission to do so. So that's when someone else has to step in on behalf of the patient and do that. And if it's a spouse, I believe that they can just go ahead and do it because that's their spouse. But if you're not, then there is a legal document that needs to be signed ahead of time when you are conscious and able to make good decisions and are lucid. And it's called a healthcare power of attorney. And that legally gives that person who's been granted that authority the ability to make decisions when the cancer patient or anyone actually is unable to do so. So they don't just have it arbitrarily and just say make a decision. If the patient is able to make a decision on their own, then the power of attorney doesn't really come into effect. It only comes into effect when the patient is unable to make those kinds of decisions. So the caregiver plays a pretty key role in this cancer journey that you find yourself on. And one of the benefits of that is that they're able to focus on all of the administrative things and all of the stuff that has to be dealt with, but it allows the cancer patient to first focus on fighting the good fight. So it's critical. You have enough going on your in your body and the treatments and on your emotions and all of that. So it's great if you have someone else who's dealing with all of these other issues and can speak on your behalf. So that's why the first on Monday, our Mindset Monday, is that we wanted to encourage you to have a mindset that a caregiver is crucial to your cancer journey and to encourage you to make sure that if you don't have one, that you should get one. So after that, we typically have our Tip Tuesday, and the tip for this week on regarding this subject is a quote that says, "Needing help doesn't have a look, but asking for it always looks beautiful." And that's from Brittany Burgunder. And that's a quote out of our book, From Zion to a City of Hope, about my cancer journey. And the quote is there because sometimes the reason why you don't have a caregiver is because you're not accustomed to asking for help or you don't know how to ask for help. And hopefully it's not a point where you just have too much pride to ask for help. That's not a good thing. The scriptures say pride comes before the fall. So we don't want it to be because you're just too proud to ask for help, but you just may have difficulty because you may be the one that people always came to for help. But now you're in a situation where you need help at a critical point. And so this quote was there just to let you know that no matter how you do it, it's a wonderful thing when you ask for help, particularly around a caregiver, because this is going to really help you on your way. So that's the tip that we had there for that. And then we went on to Wisdom Wednesday, and that's where we put a scripture out um, that is aligned with what we're talking about. And so on Wisdom Wednesday, we put out a quote from a scripture from the Bible. This is um, the New Living Translation. But in Ecclesiastes uh, chapter 4, verse 9, it says, two people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. So not much you have to figure out why that applies to this particular situation, that two heads are better than one. We've heard that. But from the scriptures, it says that they can help each other succeed. And in this case, the cancer patient wants to succeed, and the caregiver wants to succeed also. The caregiver wants to do a good job as a caregiver. And so when the cancer patient is cooperative with their caregiver and discloses the things that are really bothering them so that the caregiver can articulate that to whoever needs to know better than the patient may be able to, then the caregiver is going to be able to do a better job too. So when working together on this cancer journey, it's important that you find this other person who's so intimately involved in the journey that they can help you and you in turn can help them, and that makes it for a purposeful and the best outcome that you can possibly get when you have someone along with you that's committed to be your caregiver. So that gets us back to the question that we asked to think about it for Think About It Thursday. And that is, think about your need for a caregiver. If you haven't chosen one yet, why not? And if you have one, have you given them the healthcare power of attorney? And if you haven't given them one, um, if the answer is that you've somehow decided that you don't need one, then I would raise that question. Well, why not? Why don't you think you need one? Do you think you can just do this on your own? Um, that's not the best advice. I know there are people in certain situations where it seems like they really don't have anyone to rely on, but I think in most cases it's a good thing to have someone who knows what's going on and you're sharing what's happening on your journey. If it's you just simply haven't chosen one yet, you know you need one, but you haven't chosen one yet, then I would ask that same question: why not? Do you need to screen a few more people? Are you in the process? Are you procrastinating? What's keeping you from doing what you've decided you already want to do? So that's that. But if you already have one, then the question is, have you made that person your healthcare power of attorney? Now, you don't have to, but it seems like that's the one that knows the most about what's going on. And they're the one that's going to be accompanying you most of the time on your visits and all of that. So they're more likely to be the healthcare power of attorney just because they're probably going to be in the situation where you would need one. If they know that you're going to be, like for example, going through a surgery where you're going to have anesthesia applied, they're probably going to be there throughout the surgery. So if for some reason a decision needs to be made, or maybe there's a situation that comes up that you've talked about even before you're unable to speak for yourself, so the caregiver would know what your wishes are ahead of time and they can articulate that should that circumstance come up. It just kind of makes sense that they might be the healthcare power of attorney. So anyway, think about that. If you haven't designated a person to do that, you should do that. So we're drawing to the close of this Think About It Thursday, and I just wanted to say that next Thursday is Thanksgiving. So there will not be a Think About It Thursday this coming Thursday. It's Thanksgiving. And for those who are cancer patients or caregivers or loved ones, family members of a cancer patient, and that person is there, it goes without saying that there's a lot to be thankful for because that person is still in your life. The cancer patient still sees the people in their lives. So it should be a great Thanksgiving just for being there and still in the fight. So I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you on the Thursday after Thanksgiving, and we'll pick it up again. So until then, think about it. Think about the caregiver and who that might be if you haven't got one, and whether or not you've given them healthcare power of attorney. Those are key things that you will need as you begin to go through your cancer journey. So we've sort of been talking about prepping for the cancer journey, and that's one of the key things that you need to have done. So take care, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. God bless, and bye-bye.